time to hit the jackpot because you're listening to How to Bet, hosted by Daryl Sean and Sean Miller, breaking down betting into 4 categories to help you stay ahead of the game, sharing their thoughts, opinions, and analysis on how to bet it, where to bet it, and who to bet on. Now here are your hosts, Daryl Sean and Sean Miller.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to How to Bet, our HowToBet.com podcast, where we're going to tell you how to bet, where to bet it, and who to bet on. I'm Daryl Sean, along with Sean, the Genius Miller, and Neri Rodriguez. And, of course, it's March Madness time. The brackets were released earlier, and, well, it all gets started on Tuesday with the play-in games. But for you on YouTube, get to the subscribe button, hit that subscribe button, subscribe, the like button, the notification bell, go down a little further, the description box, that's where you're going to find the previews to Sean the Genius Miller's previews. You're going to have odds updates, injury updates, everything you really need to win some money in this March Madness. Also, we have promotions. There's various sports books at howtobet.com. You go there. There's promotions for various sports books around the country. We do have promotions from FanDuel and Betfred for March Madness. So get there early and often. Let's go right to it. Let's go to the West region and take a look what we have out west. You see the scroll down below. And Sean, well, Gonzaga, the number 1 seed, they'll match up early on. I don't think there's a lot we have to talk about in that game, but it gets a little interesting. Boise, the 8 seed, will play Memphis, the 9 seed, UConn, and New Mexico State. That's an interesting game in the West. UConn and New Mexico State. Arkansas, Vermont. A lot of people like that Vermont team. I think Arkansas might be a little bit much for them. Alabama will play the winner of Rutgers, Notre Dame. Texas Tech will take on Montana State. Michigan State, Davidson, that could be a good one. And then Duke, Cal State, Fullerton to round out the first round of the West region.
Yeah, there's some interesting teams. This Boise State team, that's seeded 8th. I mean, it's a 4-bid league. And, they won the league and they won the tournament and got an 8th seed. I mean, they're 27-7. They went 15-3 in the league. Colorado State, San Diego State, Wyoming. I mean, there's some pretty good teams in that league. And they're a little bit underseeded there. And I think I don't know if they could give Gonzaga a game there, but it's probably not the easiest game in the world for Gonzaga in the second round there. I mean, there's some other 8 seeds.
Well, I mean, Memphis will have a little bit to say about moving on. Memphis was playing very well until they ran into Houston, who now has the habit of just blowing everybody away in the AAC championship. So, Memphis had been playing well. Penny Hardaway's team was on a streak going into that championship game in the conference. So I wouldn't put Boise State in just that quickly.
Okay.
All right. UConn, New Mexico State. New Mexico State is a 26-win team. Now, UConn, again, one of those teams in the Big East, they were playing well. They lost in the semifinals, the Big East, to Villanova. Can Hurley's group make some waves in here, or do we see a possible upset from that New Mexico State team?
Yeah, look, you know what? This is there could be a couple upsets in this bracket, or maybe 3. I think New Mexico State, they have some players that can score a little bit. These 5-12 games, they're not even upsets anymore. I mean, it's just everybody knows. If you're filling out your brackets, everybody already knows. Like, listen, man, if you don't put a couple 12 seeds in there, you got no chance to win your bracket. Now, I mean, the last few years, there's been like 2 and 3 teams, 12 seeds coming through. So,
I mean, it's admittedly wide open. So the highest seed ever to reach a Final Four was an 11 seed. It happened a few times. It happened last year with UCLA, but 11 seed is the highest. It can be one of those years where we get a high seed because it is so wide open. I don't think there's any dominant teams, although I see it. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I do think there's some that are playing very well right now at just an amazing high level.
Yeah.
But we could see it.
I think, when you look at these teams, there's a lot of teams that got in. Some of these big power conferences, they beat each other up, but there's a lot of teams, this New Mexico State team's 26-6. I mean, Boise's 27-7. There's a lot of really good teams, 27-28, Murray State's got 30 wins. I mean, there's some really good teams in this bracket that, might not have gotten a chance to play some of these bigger teams all the time. And when they did, they played pretty well at times. So, I just think sometimes, people fall in love with the seeds. But then when you see the lines for these games, all of a sudden it's a 5-12 game and the line is like 2 or 3. And you're like, well, wait a second. How is this a 5-12? Well, that's because the bookmakers know these teams are dangerous teams. And, you got to be careful with them.
No, so we're just previewing these tonight. We will be out during the week before the games start with the lines and who we like. So look forward to that on, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday. That will be out. And like I said, we're going to then run down and give you the predictions and then win you some money in this first round. So right now, again, we're just, it's early on. They just came out. We're just going to run it down, give you some opinion.
First impressions.
The 4-seed Arkansas against the Catamounts of Vermont. Vermont, again, that's one of those teams that a lot of people are going to take in that first round. When they're filling out the brackets, one of the upsets in the first round will be the Catamounts, a very good team. They ran through their conference rather easily. And
16-0 in the conference. They're 17-1 in the conference, 16-0 at home, and 28-5 overall. They're a very good team, but
always good. But I don't know. I think
Arkansas is very good.
Yeah, if it was a different style of play, but they're going to see an Arkansas team. I don't think it fits their style. So that might be a tough one. But there will be a lot of people taking that upset, that 4-13 upset. Now, here, Sean, it's early. We don't know who's going to win the Rutgers-Notre Dame game. Rutgers will play Notre Dame as that play-in game. Neri, I know you were at Rutgers, and they were a little worried about getting in, but when they did, I know the place erupted.
Yeah. This is a special group. Even if they don't make any waves this year, I mean, they're going to be. They'll definitely be here next year, and I don't think it'll be in a play-in scenario. As far as that matchup goes, I am confident Rutgers will take that matchup. There's a couple of dark horses in this region. I know we were talking a little off camera. I don't, Gonzaga seeded, number 1, as Sean was saying. Sometimes people just fall in love with these seeds, but there's a lot of good teams in this bracket. I really don't see them. Well,
one of the teams I think is a little overrated. I think they underachieved this year is the number 6 seed Alabama. Now, they will play the winner of that Rutgers-Notre Dame game. And it's funny, Sean, I kind of like the matchup for Notre Dame against Alabama, but I don't know that I like it if Rutgers wins. And I'm not saying Rutgers is going to or Notre Dame's going to beat Rutgers. I'm really not sure yet. But it's funny that, like I said, I do see a way where Notre Dame beats Alabama, but I don't like the matchup with Rutgers and Alabama.
Yeah, it's funny just watching the bracketology show. The Jay Billis and Seth Greenberg, they all definitely like Rutgers and Rutgers to win that game, and then Rutgers to beat Alabama. So it's funny, nobody likes this Alabama team, and they
underachieve. They really do.
Yeah, it's interesting though. Sometimes those are the teams that just like surprise everybody and make a deep run. But yeah,
they could.
Yeah, it's in.
They're world
these teams are all the same. When this year after the COVID and last year everybody knew it was going to be Baylor and Gonzaga. I mean, for betting wise, it was Baylor and Gonzaga minus 115 to win the title, or everybody else. And it was Baylor and Gonzaga, and everybody knew it. They're the 2 best teams by far. This year, it's really wide open. And I think this year is one of these seasons where you really have to listen to people and help them, get some help filling out your bracket and get some help with the betting, because it's tough. Some of these teams are good, and they're down the line. They're 12 seeds, 13 seeds, 11 seeds, and they always win. But everybody's the same, so you got to really
it's wide open.
Focus on this is a year where You know, I think we talked about this in football. You can't really, you know, that Thursday and Friday when there's 16 games each day, you can't be betting 16 games. You can't be betting 14 games. You got to find 2 games or a game or whatever it is and really focus on them and just hammer that game if you're confident in it, because you can't, if you're trying to bet every game here, you're going to end up losing money.
No, you're not going to win. You can't win every game. That's for sure. You're not going to win if you do play the whole. If you bet the whole entire bracket. That's why the bracket. That's what the bracket's for. You have a shot at each game on your bracket. The 3-14 game is Texas Tech and Montana State. Montana State 27-7, good team, but the Red Raiders are a pretty good team too. So, and it's just, I think here Texas Tech's going to be just too strong for them. Again, we're just running it down. We're not running it down with lines. We will do that Tuesday. You'll be able to see it Tuesday night or Wednesday, and then that's when we're going to break it down. So we're not even looking at the lines yet. Too early for that. And then let's move on to that Michigan State. This is an interesting game today. Michigan State Davidson. Davidson lost in the championship to Richmond in their conference championship in the Atlantic 10. Michigan State has had a down year. Everybody thinks Izzo in the tournament. It's not true. Izzo has not had great tournaments lately. He's won a national champion, but he hasn't been great in the tournaments lately. It's been years.
Yeah, it's that the last time they won was 2000. I was there in 2009 in Detroit to watch them get blown out in the final by North Carolina. But yeah, this Davidson team was nice of them to let Richmond get in the tournament, but they're 27-6. They're pretty good. That league is good. That league is tough. I mean, to win that league and get to the final is tough. I mean, you got to be tough. I mean, they only lost 6 games all year. This is a really good Davidson team, and I would not be stunned to see them win that game and maybe make a little bit of a run, because you got a fraudulent team at the 2 seed there too as well.
Well, you're a Carolina guy, so I don't see Duke losing to. Although I don't think Duke's a great team, but I don't see them losing the first game to Cal State Fullerton. Much bigger and stronger than Cal State Fullerton. So I don't think we even really need to discuss that right now. So that is a look at the west side of the bracket. They'll finish things up in San Francisco a little later on in the month. But that's where they're all heading, and that's where they're all going to try to get to. We're going to take a break. Remember, you on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like button, notification bell. Go down and hit the in the description box. Click on the links. That's where you're going to get the previews, the odds, the injury updates, preview or sports books. We have special promotions to sports books around the nation. Especially FanDuel promotion and Betfred promotion.
Betfred promotion. It's pretty cool. You bet $30 and you get a free $100 bet. You see at the bottom, the FanDuel promo here, and then you could do that 3 times. So you could make 3 $30 bets. You get $300. So
so get there early and often.
Take the money. They're giving you free money.
Giving you money. So we'll be back to break down the South region after this. Go to HowToBet, HowToBet.com.